What's up, guys? Welcome to the King Closers Formula. I'm RJ Bates III, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 myths about wholesaling. Which I listen. We put together notes here. We came up with like 50. We could probably go on and on and on about the different myths, the stories, these fabrications that are made up about wholesaling. We narrowed it down, okay, as best as we possibly could. Things that we really want to talk about, okay? That being said, right now, as you're watching this, I'm actually in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm not sitting here at this desk. This is pre-recorded. Or is it? I don't know. We're live. What is it? I don't know. So I'm not going to be able to respond to y'all's comments today. But still drop the comments in there. Let me know about what myths you have, because we'll go check those comments and maybe we'll make a different video about it. But that being said, let's get into this. Let's start with myth number one. All right. Wholesaling is a get-rich-quick business. I completely disagree with this. I do not believe that wholesaling is just any other business, okay? It is a simple business, but it comes with its faults. There are a lot of different things that you have to be good at. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But the problem is that some people have come into wholesaling and they have had immediate success. Even I talk about it. I get up on stage and I talk about, hey, in August of 2014, we learned about wholesaling. We closed a couple of deals late 2014. And then in 2015, with basically no knowledge, no wisdom, no anything, just with $65,000 worth of debt, and we knew how to get deals off the MLS and dispo on Craigslist, we made $750,000 in assignment fees. So you say, well, RJ, that's a pretty get rich quick, right? It was more money than I'd ever made in my life. But that's not the norm, right? And to be quite frank, I think we got lucky. We had some great relationships that we established early on. We had title companies that helped us out. We got connected to different groups that helped on the disposition side. Listen, this is just any other business, okay? This is not something that you could just come in and it's guaranteed that you're going to see success. I think it's also not a business that's meant for everybody. So let's just go ahead and remove that myth that wholesaling is a get-rich-quick business. It's not. It's just like any other business that exists out there. And I just don't really like that being kind of how we talk about wholesaling. I think it also undermines the skills that are needed to become a great wholesaler. If we say it's just simple and it's easy to get rich quick with this, I think it's a bad look to the people that have become successful in this and the work that is required to get there. I think some people want to sell that when they're trying to sell maybe a course or their education or build their brand, that, hey, this could be an easy business, a simple business. I do agree. I mean, there's simple parts of it. But when you really get into it, I mean, there's a lot that goes into these transactions and a lot that you have to become an expert in. So let's just mark that off, okay? I don't believe this is a get-rich-quick business. All right, number two. This one, I completely understand why this is said, specifically by a group of people in our industry, but it's not the truth, okay? Wholesalers are lowballers, okay? Now, I think that there are some people that teach wholesaling where they teach that you should lowball. I don't believe in lowballing. I think you guys that have watched me here on YouTube, you see it time and time again where I tell a seller, like, I refuse. I'm not going to lowball you. It's not what we do. I want this to be a win-win-win situation across the board. Why is this thrown out there? Well, I think sometimes it's the misconception as to where the offer came from, right? Sometimes the seller says, well, make me an offer. Your website says you'll make me an offer. Okay. So, they're thinking that their house is worth $200,000 and the wholesaler offers $70,000. Well, that could be considered a lowball offer, but what is the reason why? Is it because of the condition? Is it because of, the location? There's a lot of things that go into why our offers are where they are. And I think realtors have an opinion about wholesalers, especially the ones that don't necessarily understand who we are helping on a daily basis, who we are talking to on a daily basis, and how our offers are formulated, right? And so because of that, we get a bad rap for being lowballers. Even sellers will say that, oh, well, you're just going to lowball me. Specifically back when we did a lot of outbound marketing, that was the norm. Oh, you're just one of those lowballers, and it's not really the case. It's not really something that I believe we could get away from that pretty easily. Specifically, if more people with a status or an influence on the wholesaling industry start taking this more serious about how we come up with our offers, educating sellers when there is a disagreement on price, right? That's something that I'm very big on, is like, hey, the only sellers that we should really be talking to fall under the two buckets of right price, high motivation. Okay, that's easy because we already agreed on price. And then the case where we could be considered a low baller would be in the bucket of high motivation, wrong price. Well, how do you overcome that? Well, it's through educating the seller on how you got to that number, right? And then in that case, it's never a low ball. It's just maybe a disagreement on the numbers. That's where I would like to see the wholesaling industry moving more to, which is very similar to how realtors will go to a homeowner and explain how they are coming up with their suggested list price for the property, right? It's based off of math, right? It's based off of the comps that exist, the work, the repairs. It's the exact same thing. We're just educating the seller on how we get there. So that's where I don't believe wholesalers are lowballers. Are there lowball wholesalers out there that will quote unquote anchor sellers? Of course there are. But as a collective whole, I do not believe that's the case, because to be honest with you, majority of the time when I do see wholesale deals, it's not really like bought at that steep of a discount. The numbers are not that accurate. So if anything, I believe wholesalers majority of the time are overpaying for properties, not lowballing. So that's where I think this is just a myth across the industry as a whole. And I think it's spearheaded by, our competition, realtors, right? Who are the two people that can essentially solve a homeowner's problem? It's going to be the investor, wholesaler, or a flipper or landlord, or a realtor. That's where I think that myth is coming from. All right. Number 3, the third myth. You don't have to become a master of your craft. Okay. This is something that for me bothers me. Specifically, and I understand where it's come from, and I've even said these words, but the more that I've thought about it, the more it kind of like makes me cringe on the inside, where it's like, well, wholesalers are just marketers and then salespeople. Yes, if you want to break it down to literally the skeleton of what a wholesaling business is, sure, yes, we're doing marketing. And then my personal opinion is the sales is on the disposition side, not on the acquisition side. But man, to not become a master of so many different things that come in here, right? Understanding how to underwrite deals, understanding, well, first, before we even get to underwriting, comping deals, right? Then underwriting those deals, truly understanding how to market that deal to your end buyers, understanding how to have conversations with your end buyers, how to overcome title issues. To think that someone as talented as Logan Fulmer, former podcast titaniumvault guest, he is a master at overcoming dirty title issues. And now he is literally wholesaling commercial deals for massive assignment fees. He's a master at his craft. I feel like I'm a master at talking to sellers. I feel like I have mastered that craft where now I can take it to my team, to my community, to you guys, and say, this is the best way to talk to sellers. And we have mastered that craft. And I think that is something that anyone that wants to become a true wholesaling business and take it to another level, yeah, you're going to have to master your craft. Same thing with Cassie and her ability to comp deals anywhere in the United States. When we first started, we hadn't mastered that craft yet. And because of that, we struggled on some different deals. We struggled with underwriting deals, right? And now we understand that. We understand where end buyers buy. We have better technology. And because of the better technology, that enables us to be better at our jobs, at underwriting those deals. I just think that if you break it down, there's a lot of different skill sets that are needed that have to be mastered to be a great wholesaler. And I think it's just ludicrous to say that you don't have to become a master of your craft. Okay, myth number 4. If you have a good deal, it will sell itself with an email blast and or a Facebook post in a group. Now, where did this come from? Well, we have the Vault, our Facebook group, 12,000 members strong now. Thank you to everyone who's a member of that group. If you're not, you can join the group down below in the notes. We will get posts that literally get 0 engagement on them. It says, I have a great deal in Atlanta, Georgia. Who's buying? And it's like, dude, that is just not the way to dispo deals, okay? And somewhere along the way, there was this like theory that was thrown out there, a myth, I guess you will, a unicorn that was thrown out that said, you know, if you get a good deal, it's going to sell itself. Well, how? If the end buyers don't know that the deal exists, if you're not turning the lights on and you're not doing appropriate marketing on dispositions, if you don't know how to have conversations with end buyers and explain to them why it's a good deal, there's so many wholesale deals that exist, especially in like a market like Atlanta, Georgia, that how would the end buyers know to look at your deal in comparison to the other 50 or 100 wholesale deals that currently are available in Atlanta, Georgia? It's just, it's old theory that nowadays a deal, and do most people even know what a deal is? I don't think so. Like, how many wholesale deals do we actually think ended up in a termination because the wholesaler did not know how to do dispositions? I think it's an enormous amount of transactions in that way because they're so focused on what's the next type of lead generation I need to do, what script that I need to use, what comping software. They're always worried about the acquisitions. No one wants to talk about 3 things in this business: comping, dispositions, and transaction coordination. It's like every time we do a video right here on this YouTube channel, we'll get 40, 50% of the amount of viewers on those topics as we will if I say, look at me closing a deal. Look at me closing a deal. Woo! Everybody gets excited. We want to talk about dispositions. It's like, I don't have anything to dispo yet. So let me go worry about lead gen. Let me worry about acquisitions. And then I'll worry about dispositions when I get there. Well, then when they get there, They think, hey, I'm going to do an email blast to my, 2,000 buyers. Okay, well, your open rate is going to be, let's just say it's 50%. You're killing it. Okay, 50% open rate. Okay, 1,000 people, and then your click rate is 1%. I mean, you start with dwindling it down, and it's like hardly any people even saw your deal. Facebook post in a group. Sometimes they gain traction, but a lot of times the wholesaler isn't even putting enough information in there for the buyer to even know if it's a deal. So I think that's a huge myth. And hopefully people understand nowadays that's not how dispositions is going to work. You got to turn the lights on. You got to let people know your deal exists, and you've got to be able to have some sales skills to be able to dispo. Okay. Myth number 5. If a seller's asking too much for the property and the numbers don't work, just lock it up creatively. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. This one kills me because I do so many lives. And what's rule number 1 of the closer's formula? Embrace no. Okay. I say it all the time. If your KPIs are you're closing 1 out of 10, that means you got to give 9 no's to get to that 1. So I give a no, and then I always see it in the chat. Why didn't you lock that one up sub 2? Why didn't you offer on terms? You could have done an ovation. And it's like, listen, I post just as many, if not more, than anyone out there. Hey, I closed this deal sub 2. I closed this deal on terms. $0 down. Just yesterday, I posted a deal. Hey, locked up a deal in Monroe, Louisiana, $0 down. Okay. But exit strategy first. If you don't know the exit strategy, then you can't determine the acquisition strategy. The acquisition strategy number 1 is always cash. Then, depending upon if they have a mortgage or not, you can move to sub 2 or seller finance terms. And then, yes, we can throw in novations if it's the right fit. And that's also something that you're doing in your business. Like, is that a part of your hedgehog concept? Okay. I hate it when people, like, for example, I'll get a call with a seller. Seller say, I want $400,000 for my house. Well, why do you want $400,000 for your house? Well, I owe $400,000. I just want to pay off the mortgage. Oh, okay. What's the occupancy on the property? Oh, well, it's rented out. Okay, well, how much is it rented out for? $2,000. What's the PITI? More than $2,000. And then people will say, well, you could have bought that sub 2, and I've seen Pace do this, and I've seen this person do that. And it's like, dude, I just don't believe in it. Like, it has to make sense. The exit strategy has to exist. Otherwise, why would we be buying the deal creatively? That one kills me. Myth number 6. One of my favorite ones to talk about, specifically with the people that have the hedgehog concept of a wholesaler that say you can't go nationwide. Technology has surpassed that thought. Nowadays, we have lead generation out there, Lead Zolo, property leads, speed of lead. You can get leads cheaper if you go nationwide. So I spend less money to generate leads. And with that saved money, I can afford the most expensive tool that exists, but also the most powerful tool that exists, Investor Lift, that tells me exactly where my buyers are. And now we have comping softwares like Privy and PropStream and Batch that have MLS access across the United States that tell us exactly what the property's worth. So please tell me, if I'm going to wholesale a deal in Dallas, Texas, using the exact same comping software and the exact same lead generation strategy and the exact same dispo tool, why could I not wholesale a deal in Florida? Why could I not wholesale a deal in Maine? We do. There is nothing that's holding us back from that besides right up here. And you thinking that it's more difficult to do that. Now, are there some people like Brent Daniels, my good friend, who says, I don't want my business to be nationwide. I want to be strictly here in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, that's his decision, but he doesn't say you can't go nationwide. He says, this is what I want my business to look like, and I want to go deep in Phoenix, and I'm focused on only being in Phoenix. Okay, that works. I'm not going to try and convince him to go nationwide because he's successful at that, and that's what he's focused on. But to say you can't do it, we have proven that to be incorrect. Our community has proven that to be incorrect, and you can absolutely go nationwide in 2024 and moving forward. It's only going to get better. Technology, as AI becomes more and more a part of our industry, and as the technology gets better, and as the people that run these companies learn more about the markets and what is needed inside of our businesses, it's only going to get easier to be nationwide. More opportunity exists for those of us that are nationwide. All right. Number 7, you need to have in-person belly-to-belly appointments to close deals. So a lot of people have this theory that your close rate is higher if you go to the property, you sit down with the seller, you build that rapport with them, you're able to see the property. I disagree with that. It's about efficiency for us. We live in a time and age where the ability to move as fast as possible is king. You can go out and maybe you just have an unbelievable close rate with your belly-to-belly appointments, and that's great for you. But I can promise you, in that exact same time frame, I will close multiple deals while you're going out to do that one, and I'll never have to leave here. And the one time that you get told no, guess what? I still close multiple deals because of the efficiency that I have by not leaving this office, by not having to go out and see the property prior to contracting it, having to walk it. I mean, dude, I used to do belly-to-belly appointments. I can't tell you how many times a seller got to talking and they were just lonely. They just wanted to talk to someone, and an hour passes by and you're like, my God, we still haven't even talked about the property. What am I doing? How is this going to work? It doesn't. So for me, I think anybody that is still doing the belly-to-belly appointments, you need to really think about why you're doing that. And is that the best way to continue doing your business? I haven't seen anybody make the argument as to why it's the better way to do business, outside of they just don't have the volume of lead generation to close virtually over the phone. All right. Number 8. Listen, you knew I was going to talk about it. You knew it. You got to have a fake underwriter or a finance department to close deals. Oh man, it kills me. Every time I see someone do it, it's like, why? I will say, I watched my buddy Aaron Bevins the other day, and he did a modified version of it that I felt like was the best I've seen anybody do. He didn't say, let me go talk to my finance department. Let me go talk to the underwriters. What he said is, let me put you on hold and let me see if I can get you approved for a cash offer. And then he stopped and he comped the property and actually underwrote it. And then he came back and made the offer. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is when it's like, let me see if my imaginary friend, I still don't know what happens if a seller says, let me talk to the finance department. Let me talk to the underwriter. I mean, if you're buying a car and the finance department says something, that you can go back and you can actually talk to the real finance department that actually exists. I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, if I were on the phone and I said, I want $200,000, and the person I'm on the phone with who's supposed to be the decision maker says, let me go talk to my finance department, and then goes back and says the finance department only approved you for $150,000. I'm saying I need to talk to the finance department. I mean, I don't understand it. And the only reason why people have really given to me as to why they do this is because it makes someone else the bad guy. Well, this goes back to everything that I disagree with on these myths that we need to be moving away from if it still exists in wholesaling, like wholesalers are lowballers. Well, are you lowballing in lying to sellers about your finance department and your underwriter? Is it because you're not a master of your craft and you don't actually know how to comp deals and underwrite deals? Right? Like, I hate it. I literally loathe it. I despise it. I have yet to see anyone do it where I feel like, okay. And like, I will be open-minded. If someone can send me a video of someone doing it where it's like, that made sense as to why they did that. And I feel like it was a good thing to do. Some people say it's because they don't want their closers to be worried about comping and underwriting. So again, you're basically saying you don't want the people on the phone with sellers to be a master of the craft. You don't want them to actually understand real estate. You don't want them to actually run numbers. You don't want them to actually educate sellers as to why you're offering what you're offering. Again, it just comes down to like laziness, lack of training. I don't like what it stands for and kind of what it feels like inside of our industry. So you don't need to use a fake underwriter. You don't need a finance department. Okay. Number 9, you can't do deals in smaller states or rural areas. Okay. Again, this goes back to the power of the technology and the systems that exist in 2024. InvestorLift, PropStream, Batch, Privy, all of them give us access to the known cash buyers in the area. We have the ability to get their contact information. They want to buy deals from wholesalers. I get as to why people would say this like a couple of years ago, where it's like, yeah, I mean, it would have been hard to find a buyer in that area. But nowadays it's like a lot of areas where people consider rural or smaller. It's like, dude, we could go and we will have phone numbers and emails for like 2,000 to 3,000 cash buyers that are like active. They're buying deals. It's like, we don't want to change our mindset of where we are as an industry, because it's like, well, when I got started in 2019, it was different. It's like, yeah, but it's 2024. You can change with the times, change with the technology. Like, you can absolutely do deals. And a lot of times it's easier to do deals in rural locations and some smaller locations. Yeah, maybe it takes a little bit more time on the disposition side, but on the acquisition side, a lot of times you have zero competition whatsoever. So on that side, it's like a give and take. Like, okay, it's easier to pick up a deal and a little bit harder to dispo. Or would I rather have harder on the acquisitions and easier on the dispo? At the end of the day, it all works out. It weeds itself out in the end. It's like it's the exact same amount of work. I would rather know that I have something that I can monetize and be working on dispositions than worried about I'm not going to be able to close a deal and I have no ability to make money because I have nothing to monetize. That would be a concern of mine, which is why we run the business that we run. All right. Myth number 10. You should create bidding wars with your end buyers. I don't understand this one. I've never understood this one. In fact, I have sworn off buying deals from specific wholesalers here in Dallas-Fort Worth because they put me in the middle of bidding wars where it's like, I don't understand. You said you want $200,000. I'm ready to give you $200,000 right now. I'll wire the EMD. No, we've got other buyers. We want to see what they're going to come in. What's their offer? And they treat the wholesale deal as like they're selling it on the MLS. And no relationship building. I've literally begged them before and been like, tell me the number and I'll give it to you so we can just be done. Because you know who I am. You know that I want to come back. Like specifically when we were filming the TV show and like we needed flips. I remember there was a period where the executive producer came to us and he's like, we need 8 flips going on right now. And we had 2. So it's like we needed 6 deals right then. And you know how this works. Like it's going to take a couple of weeks for us to locate the properties, get it under contract, make sure title's cleared, get the loan, and then get it closed. But he's like, we need them right now. So it's like I'm going to wholesalers. And I'm like, okay, I need this deal. It's perfect for the show. It's exactly what I need. What's the price that I need to give you? You need to show up to the walkthrough, make your bid, and then we'll let you know it's accepted. And I'm like, I'll buy 6 properties from you today. 6. So just can you tell me 6 properties and what the numbers are? No. We're not going to build a relationship. So I don't believe in that. I don't think that's a good business model because I think over the course of time, what's going to happen is every single buyer is going to get jaded on that. They're going to get frustrated and then not want to do business with you anymore, especially if you're competing against someone like me who goes to a buyer and says, when they say, how much do I need to give you to get that really great deal? $200,000. Okay, done. Wire DMD. It's over. So then they're going to look at our deals a lot more frequently with better intentions than our competition. So I really just don't believe in creating the bidding wars during dispositions with your end buyers. I think it's a bad look for your business and overall hurts you a lot more than it helps you with just trying to make a few extra $1,000. Okay. Bonus myth. Okay. I couldn't leave this one out because this one I've seen actually taught by other influencers and really top-notch like wholesalers, and I disagree with it, right? You should always go for a price drop with the seller at the last minute to increase your spread, regardless of how much money you're making. They believe and they teach that no matter what, the day of or the day before closing, you should go for a price drop. Again, these are things that we do as wholesalers that hurt us and will bite us in the ass long term. Where it's like, why? I do not believe in this. It should be, are we solving the seller's problem? Are we giving our end buyer a good deal? And are we making money in between? Now, listen, we need to make money, okay? I don't believe in doing charity work. I believe in running a profitable organization. But if you're making a healthy spread, there's no reason for you to go back and try to make, the healthy spread like a super above average deal to poke a seller in the eyeball, specifically when you know that they are motivated and they have like financial struggles or financial issues. Like, absolutely not. These are the types of things. Like, if you go through the 11 myths that I gave here, there are multiple ones that I believe that we need to get rid of in our industry because they're being leveraged against us to bring down the regulations and give wholesalers a bad name. They're always going for a price drop to the seller in the last minute, okay? Using the fake underwriter in the finance department, okay? Wholesalers lowballing sellers. I don't believe in that. And then, quite frankly, not becoming a master in your craft, not really understanding what you're talking about, how to underwrite deals, how to truly run numbers. I think that gives you a bad look because that also increases the amount of terminations that you have long-term if you don't know how to run your numbers. So, again, this last one here, do right by people, right? Like, I just don't think that we should ever be trying to poke sellers in the eyeball just to make a little bit more money. And again, across the board here, right? It's like I said on number 10, I don't think you should be creating bidding wars with your end buyers. I don't think we should try to be doing price drops just to increase our spread if we already have a healthy margin in there. Listen, the average assignment fee across the United States is like $17,000. Ours is $15,000, so it's a little bit below the nationwide average. That's a good amount of money. And specifically when you start breaking down what the average cost per lead to contract is nowadays, like that cost has gone down. I remember at one point in time, I interviewed Andrew LeBaron on the Titanium Vault, and he was based out of Phoenix, Arizona at the time, and he was talking about his average cost per contract for marketing was $10,000. That has significantly changed over the past, I think that was like 6 years ago. Significantly changed. This is why I keep saying it. Like, we're in a better place today as an industry than we were previously. And I think we're just not looking at it the right way. So that's why today I want to talk about these myths. We need to eliminate these from our industry, from our mindset moving forward. Okay. Wholesale is not a get rich quick business. It requires work. It requires mastering your craft. Okay. Don't be a low baller. We aren't low ballers. Okay. You're only a low baller if you're not doing this the right way. And it's a bad look on our industry as a whole. When you go to sell a deal, actually go to like bring value to your end buyer, do marketing. Okay. An email blast and a Facebook post in a group, not good enough. It's the seller's asking too much. Don't just lock it up creatively. Okay. Actually understand the exit strategy for that. Understand those creative strategies before you try them out. You can absolutely go nationwide nowadays. You can absolutely close deals virtually over the phone. You don't have to do belly-to-belly appointments. You don't have to pretend to have a fake underwriter or a finance department. You can absolutely do deals in smaller states and rural areas. We do it every single day. And don't create bidding wars with your end buyers, and don't do price drops. Get rid of these myths, guys. They're not facts. Hey, I appreciate you tuning in today. Bearing with us as we're out of town. Big things coming. While we're in Phoenix, we're hooking up with our buddy Pace Morby out there. I'm also doing Brent Daniels' podcast, Real Estate Disruptors podcast with Steve Trang for the third time, and also going to be on the 11 out of 10 Investor Lift podcast. I'm super excited for all of that content that's coming out soon. And also, if you haven't been paying attention, Round 3 of Titanium University, we are open. If you were not on the wait list, I don't know what you were paying attention to, but you need to book your call. We're only taking 30 people. Calls already started today. People are already signing up. So if you want to be in Titanium University, make sure you go to titaniumu.com. Book your call right now with my team. We would love to see you there. Appreciate all the love, guys. Make sure you like this video and leave me a comment about other myths that we didn't talk about, and maybe we'll create another video about that in the future. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you